How you doing, Ian?
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Good morning.
Morning, Ian. Where are you?
So we're kind of opposite sides of the UK, aren't we? I'm um,
Yes.
I'm on the East Coast. You're on the West Coast. I'm sitting
Yeah.
indoors, sitting outside.
Yeah. Even though when we caught up first thing this morning, there was beautiful sunshine coming in. Now there's some grey clouds coming over. But what I'm going to do, if it does rain, I'm going to run and grab an umbrella, and I'm going to sit it out. All right.
You,
I'm
I
going to
like
close
it.
my
I like-
laptop so it doesn't get wet. But I'm going to leave my phone. Apparently, my phone's waterproof. And I'm going to find out today if it rains. We'll all find out if it's actually waterproof or not.
I like that spirit. Um, so I think we should say, shouldn't we, that you and I have history, that
Yeah.
going back 25 plus years.
Don't say. A long time.
think I think it's funny when you reflect on one's career, and you and I have done a weird mix of stuff. Eclectic is a much used term, but I think it certainly applies to what you and I have done respectively. And
Go
what
on, reel off 5 things that you've done that are quite different in your career.
Worked in television, worked in live events, was like a virtual marketing agency for Benetton, written for the Financial Times, and take people on walks to get them energized. Well, I used to. Now I do it online.
It's virtual walks. It's like, where are we? We're
Yeah.
still sitting in the same chair, but it feels good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and tell you 5 things I've done in my career that are quite different. I started my own business when I was 15. I trained to be a journalist. I worked in radio, worked in television, and worked in advertising and marketing. They're quite different, I don't know.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah. So how are you feeling? Here we are, the first Monday in April 2020. How are you feeling? We're Monday morning.
I'll be honest here, and I think I'm supposed to say I'm feeling very dark and gloomy, and it's all terrible out there, and I'm very upset about the world. You know, I'm feeling a lot of sorrow for people who are suffering because they don't have a garden to sit in, even if it does rain. They have lost a loved one, or they are suffering because their jobs have been put on the line, and there's a lot of uncertainty. But you asked me how I'm feeling. I'm going to be honest with you, Ian. I'm feeling actually quite buoyant. I believe that where are we now? We are on what's the date today?
Monday.
I've lost track of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we bounced into this, and I think we're going to bounce out. From an economic standpoint, I could be wrong, but I feel very positive, and I actually sort of feel guilt, and I'm trying to gate myself actually saying that. But I'll be honest with you, I feel really good. I'm lucky enough. I'm surrounded by my family, and I feel really good about the world. Where we're going.
Okay. Well, I like that, and I can feel that across the.
There's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think today is the best day we've ever had in 2020 by a long shot. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of opportunity out there, and a lot of companies are really stepping up to deliver into that space. And a lot of people have turned into leaders who weren't leaders before. Before there was a criteria to being a leader, and now the playing field is completely flat. Anyone can be a leader. I was talking to one of the team this morning at my business, and she was saying how she stepped up and she helped people in her neighbourhood who can't leave their house because of their age with dog walking for them. She's leading. Dog lead. That's a tenuous link, but you'll get it. She is leading, and I realised that everybody can be a leader now. What an amazing opportunity we all have to do something positive and real, surrounded by what feels like the sort of the walls coming in closer to us. We still have this opportunity to do something good and lead.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think I do have concerns about the economic outcome of all this. I think I do have concerns about big businesses. I certainly have concerns about just up the road here in Leigh-on-Sea, my neighbourhood businesses. I see some of those, how they're innovating to survive, doing deliveries and stuff. But I also know a lot of businesses that can't do that, and I worry about our vibrant, thriving, independent entrepreneurial scene. You have an amazing one in Bristol and Clifton, and I have a great one here in Leigh-on-Sea. I feel for those people.
I worry less for them, Ian, because they are agile, they're innovative. They will invent the next new. They'll be the first. their radar is already scanning for the opportunity. They will feel pain. There is no doubt about that. But from that pain, they will grow something new. They will not roll over. They're used to having rejection. The seagulls are going off now, laughing at me. You idiot. That's not what's happening at all.
The wisdom of the seagulls. No, I hear you. I hear you. And I think, what one thing that you and I share, we don't agree on everything, which is what all good relationships and friendships are about. I think one thing you and I agree on as writing partners and idea collaborators over the years is this sense of Unplan. I mean, it was 10 and a bit years ago in March 2010 that you and I found ourselves in a convention center in Austin, Texas, standing up and telling people to unplan their business, and people thought we were crazy, and some people loved us, which is always the good hallmark of an idea. And I think Unplan is an idea whose time has come, and I know you and I have some slightly different perspectives on what that looks like. But I think for me, let's be positive and optimistic. I like your optimism; it's infectious. I think let's be optimistic. I think we all have an opportunity to embrace a different kind of mindset to get us through this, whether we're the founder or leader of a FTSE 100 or Fortune 500 company, or whether we're a neighborhood independent business and everything else in between, and certainly down to my end of things as a micro business solopreneur, whatever you want to call it. I think we all have an opportunity, and I think what's going to get us through is embracing the spirit of an unplanned mindset, which of course by its very nature is a mindset that does not get freaked out by the idea of not having a plan. It's fruitless having a plan at the moment. We don't know when this lockdown's going to end. We can have ideas, we can make guesses and hunches, but that's all they're going to be. And I think as you and I know from our work on this, the problem with a plan was always a plan can be very paralyzing. And an unplan can be quite liberating, right? Yeah.
Well, if you go back to where we started with Unplan, it was 2008. The Western economy had just slid off the edge of the world. And we were talking, you and I were talking independently to lots of people who were starting business, who were telling us they were busy developing their 5-year business plan, right? That's what we kept hearing again and again. How's your startup coming on? Oh, and I'm working on my 5-year business plan. And then you hit this point where the Western economy slides off the edge of the P&L sheet, and you're like, where was that in your business plan?
Yeah.
And so many times we talk to people and they weren't putting their entire estate on the line of starting this business. A lot of people were starting side businesses back in 2007, 2008. This was someone who had a passion for making muffins, and they were writing a 5-year business plan, right? I remember you telling me about this. Run a 5-year business plan, make some muffins, give them to someone beyond your friends and family, and if they like them, ask them if they would pay for one. And if they say yes, then maybe you have a business. How much writing do you need to make that happen? And it was almost like everyone was afraid to take that leap, which is completely understandable, because the moment you commit and say, no, I'm making these, if it does fail, you have to accept that failure and pivot and move on, or give up and go back to it, whatever it is you're going to do. You have to make that move. And it kind of, by writing these big plans, it takes away that need to deliver something. Well, here we are in a whole new situation to 2008, completely different, but in some ways it resonates in the same way. Everything slid off. The global, not just the Western, the global economy, health, all the dashboards. And we were talking about this the other day. 5 weeks ago, I was looking at my metaphorical dashboard every morning, and on it was staff retention, growth, new hires, move office, new software, new, growth, bigger, bigger, bigger. That was all the dials on my dashboard. And you mentioned to me a date, it was Friday the 13th, when you said you went into a cafe and there was nobody in there. And you had lunch in a restaurant, say. There was nobody in there. When you left that restaurant, you realized the world wouldn't be the same because you had a batch of answer phone messages saying, Ian, we're pausing the project. Yeah. All your plans, great plans you'd made, very sensible plans, just suddenly went on pause. And that's what we're all facing now. So if we've paused all of the plans, what are we left to do? Like you said, we don't know what's coming next. So it is now the point of unplanning. We've got to be agile. We've got to be able, all the things we preached when we went to South by Southwest in 2010, all the things that those people sat in that horseshoe around us taking notes. Yeah, they'd been writing their 5-year business plan and they realized they didn't need it. Now you do if you are putting huge amounts of money or your home on the line, or if something is, if it, you know, but most people that we're talking to and talking about are seeing an opportunity. Maybe they've started making bread at home now and they've realized they really enjoy that. It's very therapeutic and their neighbors really appreciate it. And the neighbors are saying, actually, it tastes like good bread, and they're tweaking it. Well, is that not an opportunity? Do they go, well, actually, I'm thinking of starting as a business, so I'll stop making bread now and I'll spend the next 3 months locked in my room figuring out my business plan, how many vans I'll need to deliver it, how many baking ovens I'll need. Well, you got an oven, bake some bread. If people like it, they'll come back and say, give me some more. So I think we've very much been forced, unfortunately, not by design, into this position where we now must learn to embrace the unplanned mindset. And there is a lot of good that comes with the unplanned mindset. I think there's a lot of long-lasting good because it is a mindset, as you've always pointed out to me, Ian. You've always said it's a mindset. And once you own that mindset, it never goes away and it applies in much more than just business, yeah? Holidays that go wrong.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I think everything you've said, I agree with that. I think one thing I'd overlay on that, because I do a lot of work where I'm helping people navigate their careers, is the same applies for anyone tuning into this and eavesdropping our conversation now. It's also about, unplanning your career. It's about unplanning your business life. So if you're not, if the baking the bread, a side project doesn't speak to you, I would say if you're tuning into this and you're working in an organization and you're thinking about what your move next is, the same thing applies. That spirit of the unplan is, sometimes I don't want to mix too many metaphors, but I kind of always say, for me, it's about going where the water flows, about seeing what happens, and about being open-minded and opportunistic to what might be next, because we don't know what's around the corner and we shouldn't try and guess when it comes to our career. So I think that sense of agility, of staying open-minded, I think you're right. Once you have that, you can really apply it to everything, because I think what the unplanned mindset gives you, it gives you a sense of calm. It gives you a sense of being at ease with the things you can control and the things you can't control. We can't control a stack of things right now, but I don't want to sound too cheesy on a Monday morning, but we can control this. We can control our reaction. Now, you painted a nice picture, which feels like seared into my brain. There was a before this thing happened and there was an after. And it was Friday the 13th, my lunch in Wardour Street, Soho. When we walked in there, this was before the lockdown. It was before we'd been told we shouldn't be going out. And we were the only table in Cote Brasserie in the corner. And had a nice drink, had a nice lunch. Wardour Street was a lot quieter than it normally would be. And as you say, I went back to where I went next and, booted up my phone, turned my phone off flight mode, and all these things tumbled in. And I'll be honest, for the first 30 minutes after that, and I ordered a beer, I felt a bit sorry for myself. Yeah, the natural human reaction to my revenues. I didn't have a chart in front of me, but I might as well have had a chart with, a cartoon chart with them all nosediving. But then I thought that mindset of like, WTF ain't really going to get me anywhere. And I thought, right, you got to think about what you can do. And if you have a mindset of panic, that ain't going to do anyone any good. It ain't going to get me through this. It's not going to help my household and my dependents and all the things that through it. I can only ride this through from a position of clarity, calm, confidence. And I think the seeds we sowed, or the path we laid out with Unplan, it's funny what the younger self does to the older self. What you and I did with that, when we wrote our books and went to South by Southwest and everything else, it's kind of like, it's in the toolbox. It's there. And shit, we need it right now. And you and I have that. And I think that is what I'd say to people out there. I know it's easier said than done, but I hope we're unpacking some of this and just having that sense of not panicking, not getting freaked out there isn't a plan. Because what we see around us is there's no point of having one right now. So I think whether it's starting a business, whether it's maintaining or developing a business, thinking about your career, thinking about your business life or work life, it's thinking about unplanned. It's being agile, which I know is a word that's bandied around a lot, but I mean elasticity, I mean flexibility, I mean being reactive, being responsive to opportunities, and having that kind of feeling of, what will be, which again, easier said than done. What do you feel?
You touched on two things I want to come back to on that. One is about, well, what is Unplan? It's because we've been living our lives since forever, living in the future. We tend to live in the future. Yeah, what is coming next? The holiday that's coming up, the promotion that may be coming up, the new business that may be coming up, and that living in the future is fine until we hit a bump like we're hitting right now. And this is one car crash. It's a crisis. Unprecedented as a word has never been so apparent on Google, right? So we are living in this time, but we tend to live in the future. Now, if your mindset is one living in the future, projecting your future, and then COVID-19 comes along, the future is immediately obliterated. And that is a huge world of pain as an individual we have to cope with. So the first action we need to take as unplanners, I think we call ourselves that, right? Is that an unplanner is, what was our future we imagined before hasn't gone forever, but we have to pivot now, and we have to look at the closer. We talked in our book Zoom about salami steps, right? We can't look at the whole picture now and comprehend it, because these dashboards that have appeared on our dial, these new ones, there's too many. And they're in areas we're not experts. I'm not an expert in health. I'm not an expert in global economies. I'm not an expert in supply chain. And all of these things are real dials we need to be looking at, right? And many more. So there is this future mindset that we have. We've got to go, right, I've got to rein that back in a bit. I've got to look at what's in front of me now and respond to that. And the other thing is a really important bit. You talked about career. And what I want to talk about, that agile part of the career there, Ian, is this is the time where you need to stop looking at your job title and what you were told to do based on what was happening yesterday, because our tomorrows aren't like our yesterdays right now. And you need to go back to something you said to me earlier. What you're good at, you'll always be good at. I think that's what we as individuals need to look at now. That's the positivity I was talking about at the beginning, I feel, because we're all good at something. And this is our time to do that good thing, because that one good thing we can do, that is our articulation of leadership.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that, and I should say I've been saying that a lot. What you've been good at is what you've always be good at, and I should say I got that from a webinar in the first week of the lockdown, which was from Phil at Corporate Rebels, I think, and I think that's really important. I think there's the opportunity for all of us, whether you're older like us or a bit younger in your career, to look back and go, what were some of those common themes that I've been good at, I identified, and people around me said you're good at. What are those things? And I think you can kind of draw up a short list of those things that are part of brand David or brand Ian or brand whoever's out there, in terms of What are those hallmarks? Because your brand ain't going to change in that sense. Those things you started with, I mean, in 1999, I found myself in my doctor's surgery where I was, not well, not in a good place. My job was making me ill. That was another before and after. You draw a line, me before December 1999, me after, suddenly dealing with uncertainty. So I've been good at this all my life, dealing with uncertainty. I then did a big project with Benetton in 2006. The rug got pulled, suddenly it's all over, before and after. So, we can all go back and think, what were those things that I've been really good at? A good friend of mine who I have done some work with, a guy called Nick. His father was in the military or working for the Ministry of Defence. Nick, as a kid, moved homes and countries an incredible amount of times. Now he's very senior in the world of talent within organisations, and he's so good at change. He's so good at embracing change and dealing with change and change management, because it's in his story. It's in his backstory. It's in his backstory in his personal life, let alone his professional life. We've all got these milestones. We've all got these experiences. We've all got these stories. And I think we have the opportunity to go, let's connect the dots between all those. What are those things that I'm good at as a result? Really good at dealing with change, really good at starting something from nothing, really good at building a team. I was always a good leader, whatever. Everyone's going to have a unique little list.
Yeah.
Those brand values or hallmarks, I almost think they become a touchstone. You want to get tattooed on your wrist. They are the things. It's what you've been good at. You've always, what you've been good at. You're always good at. Dealing with uncertainty, getting knocked down but getting up again, bringing people clarity, being able to see clearly. They're mine. You might need quite a long tattoo. That is how we build from this, right?
Yeah, and what we need to be aware of is a lot of people have had careers that are facing this, maybe their first bump in their career. They've had very solid, straight career, not flatline, but very solid. Maybe they worked in a large organisation, and it's tomorrow was always like yesterday. And so this has come as a shock. And this is why people may get something out of eavesdropping on our conversations, because whilst you were riffing, I was drawing what our careers have looked like to date. And I'd say, can you see that?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our careers, right?
Yeah.
It's just, 1 month we're walking up on stage to pick up an award. And, by the close of that month, we're being told by the organisation that the benefits from winning that reward, that we're to leave the business permanently. It's been an up and down journey. Yeah. So we are used to up and down journey. Not that COVID-19 is anything like our careers to date. It is a different animal. However, we have learned some resilient skills, which is what we shared 10 years ago at South by Southwest. And like you said, it was loved by some, and it was despised by others. I mean, we got a note from a Harvard University professor that pretty much said we were the devil. Mm-hmm. This was the devil's work, yeah. So it wasn't loved by all. But I'm hoping what people are going to get from joining our riffs is, look, we've hit a few rock bottoms before, and we've always climbed back out. And we're going to share with you some of the skills that we've seen others use to climb out, because we're not alone in doing this. We know literally everyone in our friend network, right, is on this similar bounce journey to us. Yeah. So we get a lot of that insight. What are we going to say? We're going to share with you some ideas for resilience. We're going to share with you some ideas for looking at the world differently now that things have changed, so that you can see the opportunities, not take advantage of other people, but see the opportunities where you can add value. We're going to share some ideas where you can take your career and you can really drive it forward, because everyone is able to drive their careers forward, where you can drive yourself forward if you've been furloughed at the moment, and where you can step up and become a leader you've always wanted to be, or the accidental leader, because the playing field is flattened now. It's not just the Richard Branson of this world that's allowed to be the leader. Everyone can be the leader. Like I said, that one of our staff is walking. I think that's a wonderful leadership piece to play, to go out there and step up and do it. I've had notes through my door from neighbours saying that they're letting the whole street know that if anyone requires shopping, they're going to do it from there. So that is a true leader. She's not waiting to be told what to do. She is
that
doing
wasn't her
that.
plan, was it?
Never on her plan.
Yeah.
She never had a plan that she would offer to do shopping for people in Caledonia Place. It was just never on the list.
How about on my list for April? Yeah. I love all this. So, I think just wrapping up, the whole idea with this was that you and I love taking coffee together, and this is David and Ian sitting in their virtual coffee shop on a Monday morning, and perhaps eavesdropping. But I think you've laid the path well for what we're going to do next time, David, in terms of taking this forward and really kind of trying to give some value in these riffs that people can go forward and have a good sense of where they go next. So we're going to try and keep these to around half an hour, because that feels like a good time. Anything longer is perhaps too much of an ask, and we're going to be doing this every week. So thanks for joining us with the Unplanners, and that's it, right?